the hate army troll.
It's the hate army,
bro. Hate army.
Shout out to hate.
Good vibes to the
Shout
hate
out to
army.
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out
Shout
for
out to
hate.
Shout out to hate.
Shout out for
Shout
hate.
out for hate.
16 months as a member. I said, what was your PRs for bench squats deadlifts? I don't know. I have to keep explaining. I weightlifted in the early 2000s, about 20 years ago. I don't have records. I have no recollection of any of the weights or reps or anything that I did 20 years ago. I have absolutely no fucking clue. I did not record that. I never fathomed, all right, that in the early 2000s, when I was in my early 20s, now I'm in my 40s, when I was in my early 20s, that 20 years later, there would be a stream of 400 people sitting here on a phantom site that didn't exist yet called YouTube, who would ask me my statistics for when I was working out back then. Also, if you want to know the truth, I don't see the point in recording and bragging about that shit. It's supposed to be your personal goals, your personal growth, your personal, you know? It's not about, oh, I gotta fucking share that with people on the internet to brag about it. I think that's silly, right? It's just funny because this is what happens when you're a public figure like this. I'll give you a perfect example. I'll tell you right now, there's something that's going to be coming up later this year, that documentary from June the King, okay? When he was making and working on the documentary about me, which, by the way, I think he's finished it. It's just that now it's getting, like, produced, like it's getting put together and edited and everything. So there were times when he would hit me up with questions, all right? And, like, here's an actual question he asked me. So, where did you get the figure for the value of the PC that Chris Furtado made for you that you said was a lemon? He hit me with that question, and I'm like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea. Like, I think I based it upon the fact that he originally had given me a quote, but then he kept hitting me up with the desire for more money over the development of the PC, and I had to keep sending him more money via PayPal. But you're asking me a question that applies to, like, 2010 in 2024. I don't remember. And unlike maybe him, I don't have any receipts. Like, I didn't save anything 14 years ago to prove what I spent on a PC. So you're making a documentary about me, about something that happened 14 years ago, and you're asking me a specific question. There's literally no way I could have any actual knowledge or evidence of anything that you're asking me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have detailed workout regimen information about workouts I did in the early 2000s. I never fathomed that in 2024 someone would ask me that question. When Chris Furtado was making me a fucking PC in 2010, number one, I probably never expected that it would have issues. And number two, I didn't think that it would be a big issue for people on the internet that I need to, like, document that information. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who would have thought in 2010, when I was just burgeoning, like becoming a prominent YouTuber, that years later someone would ask me for the specifics of that? I have no idea, you know? So that's kind of sadly, the double-edged sword of being a public persona, is that you can talk about stuff, but how will you ever have justification of any of it? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have anything. How would I have evidence of anything that I say about these things? These are just stories I can tell you, but it's not anything that I can back up. How the fuck would I ever do that? No one ever thought that there was going to be a YouTube and YouTubers and live streamers and people, you know what I'm saying? And then people would question everything you say and want evidence of it. You know, maybe if I had known that, I would have literally documented every single possible thing that I ever did and had rooms full of fucking documents and receipts to back up every statement I ever made, right? But I don't have that. I don't have that. So, like, I know what's going to happen, right? Like, so when that documentary comes out later this year, it's just going to be a bunch of negative shit that people have said about me over the years, and just literally no way to defend myself to it. I'm like, I don't know. Either I say, yes, it definitely happened, I'm bad, that was my fault, or I literally don't remember, I can't tell you, right? So, that's life, though. When you guys ask me these crazy questions about stuff from the past, I'm like, how could I possibly answer that, right? How? You know? It's funny, I remember years ago, people asked me about my school days, and I said, well, I was the valedictorian of both my elementary school and my high school. And everyone's like, Phil's too stupid to be valedictorian. There's no fucking way that he could possibly be valedictorian. Well, guess what they did? My trolls contacted my schools. and actually asked specifically, was he valedictorian? And apparently they looked it up and answered, yeah, he is. He was. He's in the yearbook. We have the yearbook. Yeah, he was the valedictorian. But that's what I mean. People actually, like, oh, they don't believe anything I say. Everything's a lie. We need corroboration on everything Phil says. Like, geez. Guys are brutal, vicious people on the internet. Big Mac became a member. Thank you, Big Mac, for the membership. Noct says, didn't you have a chance to defend yourself with the Mike Klum doc but turned it down? How exactly? Again, like, let's say I did the Mike Klum documentary. So you got someone from back in the day. Let's say it was someone from the Street Fighter community who would come out and be like, yeah, Darkseid Phil was an asshole. He did this and this. So what would I do? I would either say, that's a lie or that's true. How would I prove it? How do you prove something that happened 20 years ago that no one documented? There's no video back then of anything. It's a bunch of people typing on forums. It's a bunch of people in chat rooms that weren't backed up. And it's things that happened in real life in tournaments that weren't recorded. So how would you actually like, what's the point? It's like, okay, this guy said something bad about me. Man, that's not true, right? So I don't know. Anyway, we've gone very long on the podcast. People are now redirecting the podcast in a million other directions. But I actually think that it's time for us to adjourn. I think it's time to adjourn, shall we?
Typically helps me more than anything.